in the heart of the old eastern lands, surrounded by thick forests and red earth, there once lay a prosperous town called Umuite, a place of song, harvest, and beauty. The people of Umuite were proud and hardworking. Their farmlands yielded richly, their rivers never ran dry, and their children grew strong. But in the midst of the joy came a story, one that would turn laughter into lamentation and prosperity into dust. Her name was Mkpurumma. Mkpurumma was a young woman in her mid-20s, but her beauty was unlike anything the people of Umuite had ever seen. Her skin glowed like polished bronze beneath the sun. Her eyes shimmered like the calm river under moonlight. And her voice, her voice, could calm even a crying child. She walked with grace, and wherever she passed, men's hearts trembled, and women whispered in awe and envy. Some said she was too beautiful to be human. Others said she was an ogbanje, a spirit child born to torment mortals with fleeting beauty. But Mkpurumma was kind, humble, and hardworking. She fetched water for the elders, danced at the village square, and cared for her widowed mother. Yet, rumors spread faster than truth, and whispers began to fill the air. Her beauty is a curse, some said. She comes and goes like a spirit. She must be from the river world, others murmured. It was not long before word of her beauty reached the ears of King Obialo, the ruler of Umuite. Obialo was a man of power and pride, known for his authority, but cursed with a heart full of lust and greed. When he first saw Mkpurumma at the New Yam Festival, he was bewitched. She danced gracefully in the moonlight, her waist moving like the rhythm of the drum, her laughter floating through the night like music. The king's eyes never left her. From that night, his heart burned with desire. He summoned her to the palace under the guise of honor, saying, "Let the most beautiful woman in Umuite dine with the king." But when she arrived, she was met not with respect, but with the heavy gaze of a man consumed by want. The king offered her jewels, gold, and silken cloths. He promised her the world if only she would become his. But Mkpurumma, gentle yet firm, refused. "My king," she said softly, "I am honored by your kindness, but I belong not to gold or throne. My spirit is free, and my heart has made no promise to you." The king's face darkened with shame and fury. No one had ever refused him. No man, no woman. His pride turned to vengeance. That same night, he called his guards. "Bring her to me," he ordered. "She is an ogbanje who deceives men and brings evil to our land." The next morning, the town crier's gong echoed through Umuite. By the king's order, the spirit woman, Mkpurumma, shall be captured and punished. Fear swept through the town. Soldiers stormed her home, tore her from her mother's arms, and dragged her through the dusty path to the king's palace. The people watched, silent, afraid, and ashamed. Some pitied her. Others whispered curses under their breath. In the palace courtyard, bound and trembling, Mkpurumma stood before the king. "If truly you are a spirit," he said coldly, "let your God save you. For daring to mock your king, you shall be buried alive." Mkpurumma's mother screamed, clawing at the guard's feet, but she was pushed away. As they took Mkpurumma to the edge of the forest, she looked at the king one last time, her eyes burning not with fear, but with sorrow and rage. "Obialo," she said, "you have stained your hands with injustice. My blood will cry out from the earth. From this day forth, your land shall know no joy. No woman shall carry life to term. No seed shall sprout from the soil. You will live to watch Umuite wither under the weight of your sin." They buried her that night, the earth swallowing her cries. The moon watching in silence. And from that night, Umuite changed. The rain ceased, the farmlands dried, women began to miscarry, and men grew weak from hunger. Children fell ill, and the air became thick with despair. The curse of Mkpurumma had begun. Years passed, and the once prosperous town became a wasteland. Rivers dried into shallow beds, and families fled in search of fertile ground. The few who remained whispered her name in fear, believing her spirit roamed at night, weeping and laughing in the wind. The king, now older, grew restless. He sought every native doctor, every priest, every oracle. Some claimed to lift the curse, performing sacrifices of goats, cows, and even slaves. But nothing worked. Each harvest failed. Each child that was born died within days. In his palace, surrounded by gold that now meant nothing, King Obialo sat broken. His power was worthless. His people despised him, and the ghosts of his choices haunted his sleep. Yet, he had one light left, his daughter, Princess Ades. The only child of his ledded queen, Ades was pure-hearted, gentle, and as radiant as the morning sun. The king loved her deeply. She was all he had left. One day, as the wind howled through the empty fields, a stranger arrived in Umuite, a woman cloaked in red and white, her face marked with sacred chalk. She was Ezenwanyi Nwakaigo, the priestess from the neighboring land of Umuite. She walked straight to the palace, her staff tapping against the dry ground. "I have come," she said, her voice calm but commanding, "to speak with the one who angered the gods." The king, desperate and weary, bowed before her. "If you can lift this curse, I will give you half my kingdom," he said. The priestess shook her head. "What I seek is not your gold or land. The spirit that cursed Umuite is restless. She demands to be appeased." The king leaned forward, hope flickering in his eyes. "What must I do?" he asked. The priestess's gaze grew heavy. "You must sacrifice the most precious thing you own." The king's face lit with relief. "Then I shall offer my finest gold, my jewels." "No," the priestess interrupted firmly. "Not gold, not jewels. The curse was born from your lust, your betrayal of innocence. The spirit demands something pure, something you love." A chill swept the hall. The king's breath caught in his throat as realization dawned. "You mean my daughter?" The priestess closed her eyes slowly. "Only the blood of purity can cleanse the stain of sin." The king staggered back. "No, I cannot. Ades is my life, my only child." He fell to his knees, weeping. But outside the palace, the people had gathered. They had suffered for years, buried their babies, lost their farms, fled their homes. When the news spread that the curse could be lifted, they demanded it be done. "Sacrifice the princess," they cried. "Let Umuite live again." The king's guards tried to keep them away, but the crowd grew louder, angrier. Even his advisors turned against him. "My king," they pleaded, "it is the will of the gods. Save the land." The king shut himself away in his chamber, torn between love and duty. For days, he did not eat or sleep. Ades, hearing the whispers, went to him and placed a hand on his trembling shoulder. "Father," she said gently, "if my death will bring life to our people, then let it be so. You have carried this pain too long." The king wept like a child, clutching her hands. "I have already lost everything," he whispered. "Must I lose you too?" But Ades only smiled sadly. "Sometimes, father, we pay the price for what others have broken." On the night of the sacrifice, the moon was full, just as it had been when Mkpurumma was buried. The priestess, stood at the same forest edge, the wind heavy with spirits. The king, pale and trembling, held Adaize's hand as the villagers watched in silence. The drums began to beat slowly, one for every year of sorrow Umuite had endured. The priestess raised a staff and called to the spirits. Adaize knelt, her white garment glowing in the moonlight. "Let the blood of innocence wash the sins of the proud," the priestess cried. Adaize closed her eyes. The knife gleamed. And then it was done. The earth shook. The trees rustled violently. From the ground, where Adaize's blood touched, a soft rain began to fall. The dry soil drank deeply. The rivers stirred awake, and the air grew sweet with life once more. Mkpurumma's laughter echoed faintly through the forest, a sound both haunting and forgiving. The curse was broken. The king, now broken beyond repair, fell beside his daughter's body, crying her name until his voice faded into the night. When dawn came, the people of Umuite rejoiced. The curse was gone, but so was their king. He was found lifeless beside Adaize, his heart stilled in grief. They buried them side by side under the great tree where Mkpurumma had once been laid to rest. From that spot grew 2 tall palm trees, their branches intertwining, swaying gently in the wind, as if whispering a story only the spirits could understand. And so, Umuite learned too late that lost breeds ruin, pride births curses, and only true sacrifice can restore what was lost. Even now, when the wind passes through the old ruins of Umuite, people say they can hear 2 voices, one singing softly and one weeping, the song of Mkpurumma and the tears of Adaize.